Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for another video. This is going to be some sales over the last week and a half or so, just a kind of an assortment of random things, and we'll talk about them. Some are really exciting, some are just, you know, a little bit of extra change to add up. And yeah, that's really all I have to say. So let's start. So this one is one of my bigger sales. This one I'm actually kind of excited about. It's going to a freight forwarder, and so most people might not love freight forwarders. I tend to like them because it's kind of like the global shipping program. As long as you get that item to the freight forwarder, then you are pretty much set. So if a buyer contacts you and says, this and this is wrong, it got broken, it's damaged, etc., then you have to tell them to reach out to the freight forwarder because the buyer protections completely go away when they use a freight forwarder. So this was a really good sale, and it sold for full asking, and I gave free shipping, but it was media mail shipping. I did add insurance on there just in case, mostly for peace of mind, honestly, but it was a really good sale. Then we're going to talk about this one and these ones. They sold to the same buyer. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I dealt with the matches because I nearly ripped my hair out when I first started with matches. I went to a yard sale. It was the very end of the day. The people were done. You could tell they were over it. It was hot during that yard sale. And they had a huge basket of matchbooks. And I bent down to look at them for 1 second, and the woman just walked up and said $3. So obviously, I took them into my car and bought them. Obviously, I couldn't leave them behind at that price. I didn't know it would cause me frustration later, but I feel like this might motivate me to list more of them. So the big headache you're gonna find is when you look up these items, if you sell them with the matches, you cannot ship them first class. Every seller on eBay that you see, though, is quoting first class shipping. So it's really frustrating because there's no way you can compete when you offer ground shipping. It's just going to be more expensive. And so this is going to be obsolete later on because I do believe they are doing away with first class. So this won't be much more of an issue for much longer. But again, you cannot ship these matches first class. They cannot go in the air, even though a lot of times first class doesn't travel that way. You can't take that chance. So these ones, I left the matches in them. This is the only matchbook so far I've done that I've left the matches in because of what it was. It was Gucci. So this one is going to go ground. And this lot, I'm just laughing because this was a terrible day when I dealt with all these. So let me show you just a few of them. They're nothing really special here, but all of them are California based. So I just made it a lot of California advertising, and I really think that worked. And these I offered first class because I took all the stupid matches out. I'm not a matchbook seller. I am not an expert, but I'm just trying to give you the tips that I should have looked up before I dove into this. But yes, I took all the matches out so that I could legally send them first class and compete with the prices everybody else was offering. But of course, I combined the shipping on these two and refunded the buyer the extra. This one isn't anything special, but it's Grumpy Cat. I love Grumpy Cat. And it's just a little plush. I paid, I think, 49 cents for it at Goodwill. So he's just a cute little plush. He went in a poly bag, nice, easy shipper. So worth it for me. These I have a ton of. I have more than it says. I probably have 10 or 12 actually. And I've sold 2 so far. These came from, I've talked in a previous video about, we have this sale that at SPCA, a local animal shelter, has a thrift store, and they do bin sale every quarter or so, where they just shove a bunch of stuff in a bunch of different bins, and you have 90 seconds to race through bins, grab anything you want as long as it fits in a tote bag that you purchased. So I crammed my tote bag full of these and other stuff. So cost of goods is maybe a quarter, probably less. So it wasn't a big sale, but they sold for $6.50, and I only had to do one listing. The other pair sold for $5. One listing, easy peasy to ship. Don't shatter. This is Taltos, The Lives of the, did I say that? Oh, look, a typo. Of the Mayfair Witches by Anne Rice. So I do think it's worth it to pick up earlier Anne Rice. And so this 1994, I could have got the full 15 if I wanted to wait longer, but someone offered me $12.23 and it had been listed for 12 hours, and I figured I would take the quick buck over waiting another month or so for $2 more. But honestly, if you see this book and it's a stated first edition in it, let me show you the copyright if I can, because this one says first edition. So if you can find this book, it's a pretty decent sell-through. So I think it's worth picking up. I paid I believe $1 for this one. Okay, so I've shown in previous videos this is an antique pie crust frame again. And this one was much larger than my last one I sold. This was a 10 by 16. I got this one from my mother-in-law. The last one we found at a yard sale, but this one I got from her collection. And it's pretty, it's beautiful. So again, the corners are really what tell you this is pie crust. And there will be a video later on down the road, talking a little bit more about these frames and how to identify them and what they are. But this sold in, I think, 12 hours. And it actually sold to the person that bought my last pie crust frame. So that was really exciting, but it sold for full price. So all of these, I'm going to show you all of them. This one, this one, this one. Oh, that's a bad picture. There we go. This and this. All of these came out of one single gallon bag. It was at a yard sale. It was $2 for a bunch of vintage Power Ranger stuff. So yes, please. And then it sat in my death pile for many, many, many months before I finally got them out. So let me show you a little more in detail. So this one and this one, the bow and the knives, both are for Megazord. I took some best offers. I took 15 for both of these because they were going to the same buyer. So it was easy, and there was a little bit of a flaw on the bow. And so I was happy to just get it gone. And then it paid for my $2 bag, so I was just into the profit from now on. So those sold first. And then I had another buyer come and buy this one. This is the Red Ranger Jason, and it's complete. That's what's the beauty of this bag, is all of the Power Rangers in there had their weapon and the coin. Why is that all the way down there? There we go. So that's really what the money was. The actual figure alone, they tend to sell for, I don't know, $7, $8, $9 maybe. But because I had the accessories, that's what really sold these items. And that just went to a single buyer. They just bought that one. It sold for full price. These and this went to the same buyer as well. They used my coupon. They did 15% off too. And the total was, with shipping, $91.90. So it ended up, being it was a really good purchase for me. And so these went to Megazord, like Deluxe Ninja Megazord Red Ape. So swords. And that's why these pieces, I used Google Lens to start helping me on these items. And then once I realized these are all pretty much the 1995 Megazord, I was able to just search that on eBay, and I was able to find each of my pieces that were in that bag. So that really worked out for me. The accessories, they can really sell, so they're worth the time to grab if you can figure out what they are, or if you know what they are. Because after the coupon, this was like a $21 sale, just these two little swords. This one was awesome. This is not a, there was one other loose that sold that was complete in the last like 2 years when I looked on Terapeak. And I took a little less than I would have liked. You know, I was a little sad they used the coupon, but I put the coupon on there and they used it. Good for them. And this is actually the first item I've ever taken best offers off on. So I originally had it listed for $69.95 with best offers. And I was so tired of getting the $30, $25, $20 offers. And it was everybody I could see, a lot of them they had toys in their eBay stores as well. So I know they were reselling, they were trying to get a deal, and I totally respect if that's what you want to do, but there were so many of them. So I just took best offers off because I knew eventually this item would sell for what I was hoping for, even though it was still a little less than I was hoping. But it was still a really good sale. And yeah, I couldn't believe it's the first time I ever took best offers off, because I usually always have those on. And this one, I included this one because this is a pretty new Stephen King, but still sells for decent money. So a lot of first edition, first prints of the newer Stephen Kings, anything late 90s and on, it doesn't really hold its value as well. I still pick them up because I'm weak and I'm going to. But The Outsider, there is a series on this one. I can't remember, I watched it, I believe it was on HBO, and I think that's really what kept the price of this book up. So $15, and it sold in a day or two of listing. I paid $1.49 for it. These, I think pretty much everybody knows how to pick, knows to pick up George R.R. Martin's books because of Game of Thrones. But what's going to be worth the money is this is a first edition, first print. And this sold fast too. This was the day. I paid $2.50 for this. Let me show you copyright so you can see that it does say, in fact, why does that keep showing up at the bottom? It does say first edition. Look for the lowest number in that line, number 1. So first edition, first printing. That's what sold this. This thing's cute. So I tend to pick up most breed plush. So this is a Rottweiler, and I really picked it up because it's unique coloring. It's a purple, yellow. It's really cute. And it sold pretty fast. I think it was up less than a week. And it sold for full asking price. I paid $1 for it. So let me show you just a little bit. It was 12 inches across. So I always include a measuring tape with how I'm measuring it. So, it's going to vary. Some people might measure from bottom of the feet to the top of the head. I measured this length shown in the photo, so it was 12 inches. So this is a Yomiko Dreamers Purple Rottweiler, and it was Russ. And it sold for full asking really fast. Here's a vinyl, because again, I love selling vinyl. This one was so valuable because of the pressing. It was in Germany. And so a lot of ABBA, I pick up ABBA anyway, but this one, it took a while to sell. I think I paid $1 for this, and I just waited for the right buyer because I knew they'd come along, and I took a best offer of $38. It was free shipping with it, but I think even with my record mailer and the bubble wrap and everything, it was still under a pound, so it was less than $4 for the shipping. So I love records, and definitely pressings matter. I'm still learning records, not an expert at all, but pressing does matter. So always kind of keep that in mind when you're looking them up. So Vermont Teddy Bear is one I tend to not really pick up too often because they're big. So they take up space and they don't sell for a ton. But I've actually discovered that the more unique ones are selling for me. So this was a lion, and it still had its hang tag as well. So you can probably see, yeah, here in the photo. Oh, there we go. See a little hang tag. I never list this as used or as new. If I pick this up at a thrift store or a garage sale, I'm not going to list this as new, even though it has a tag, because to me, this is only my opinion and only my preference. I don't feel like it's completely accurate, because this item could have been displayed for a while, has collected dust, you know, has, I don't know, been washed and someone reattached the tag. We don't really know what happened, but I know that I'm not purchasing this from a supplier or a store, and I just want to be the most accurate, because if I say used, it's also going to help me down the line if someone says, well, there's a little bit of a snag or there's a little bit of a stain that you missed, then it's easier for me to say, well, it wasn't listed as pristine. It is a used item. So that's kind of why I do that. Now I have listed them new if they still have a packaging on them, so a sealed packaging of some sort. So something that protects it, I guess, from the elements in my head. I don't know if this is the accurate way to do it. These are just my vague beliefs. So do it how you feel is best. So I did pick this up for, I believe this one was $1, and I actually picked up a yellow lab golden retriever something, and that one's worth quite a bit of money. So I found the Vermont teddy bears, if you get more unique ones, they tend to sell pretty well, and this guy sold for $23, and he was listed maybe a week at the most. I included this one because this one was a mistake, and I'm going to tell you about that mistake. This thing is too big to safely pack it. I absolutely could not get it under the 12 by 12 by 12 for shipping, and I don't have anywhere here in my town right now to drop off FedEx or UPS, so Postal Service is my friend, and I had to do it. So I just ate it. Honestly, I didn't make any money on this sale. I took a best offer, $20. It's big and it's out of my place, so I figured that's my payment for this, and don't mess up again. So be careful when you're listing about sizing. This one was listed a fair amount of time ago, so that's what I'm just going to chalk that up to olds there. I wasn't very good at this. This is Lord of the Rings Stratego. It was 100% complete and pretty much unused. So I didn't put it as new because, again, seals are broken. But there was a lot of the bags were sealed. It was unpunched. You can see that here in the photos. These all should have been on these little placards. Let me see where they are. Not there. I didn't even have a picture of them. No, I did too. Yep, these. So they should have all been attached to those. And so those were unpunched. One of the bags was unopened. So I just said mostly unused. So likely this game has never been played. If they didn't unbag everything or unpunch, this game has never been used. So this sold pretty fast. I paid $3 for this at a thrift store, and it almost stayed with me and stayed in my home. But I'm trying not to keep everything. I don't let myself keep much, really at all, but every once in a while. So I did not keep this, and it sold for full asking. Do you ever have those items here that you never, ever, ever want to see them again? This is one of them, and that's only because it's been listed forever. So this item, this made me learn about Robert Reiki's. So I might be saying that wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Reiki. But it helped me learn about what ones to pick up and what not to. So I bought 14 of these, I think, at a sale for $5 each. But I got a deal, so kind of a deal. I paid $60 for 14 of them, and I already have made my money and more on these. So that's not a big deal. And what you need to look for, this one is actually signed. So there's the signature, and it's a limited. Not all limited are worth it though. This was a smaller run. So this was out of 750. I've had other pieces that were 7,500, and that's too many. That's not gonna really be super valuable. It's too many to be valuable, at least in this market. I've also found, I believe Applause has made Reikis, and those don't tend to be worth a lot. I still pick them up again because I'm weak, and I do it. And I do kind of enjoy them. So, you know, these I was able to label. So this is Georgie Porgy, He had a little placard that said it. I sold a few others that were limited as well, and they were all, the limited ones that were signed really went for good money. So definitely worth picking up if you get the right ones. And because I pick up Bibles, I pick them up all the time. This was a faux leather, just soft like leather. And it was free shipping, but still sold for full asking of $21.95. And I picked this one up. I don't tend to pick up the non-leather ones because I found they tend to sit longer. But this one was a little more unique. So it was a guy's life application study Bible. So to me, that was worth it. And just as a side note, I don't know if I've mentioned this in other videos. I think I have. But I have noticed on Bibles, it really doesn't, for most of them, especially ones like this that are newer, printing really doesn't matter. So most of my books, I'm looking for first editions, first printings. Those are going to be where my money is. But the printings here, I've really never had it matter. So I don't even actually put it in my title or bother to mention it in the description anymore. I always take a picture of the copyright page so it is available if someone wants to see it, but I've just found it doesn't matter. They're looking for the type of Bible they want with the material that they want. So the printing doesn't seem to really matter too much for them, because these newer ones I think a lot of people are buying to use, not display. So I don't know how many items that was. I didn't count. So that was just some recent solds. Please, keep an eye out for my channel. I am planning the frames videos. I'm also planning, I think I'm gonna do a Stephen King based video and a cookbook based video just in the future, just because I enjoy it as well, because I get to keep learning and I get to keep cementing these items in my mind. So I'll see you next time.